Hello and welcome to round number 8 of the anti-stall racing RSS Formula Supreme series on Assetto Corsa for round number 8 here at Okayama. We'll be joined by my usual co-commentator, but we have just finished free practice and we are heading into qualifying now for round number 8 as qualified free practice has finished, but I'm now staring at this. On we go. On now, perfect. Now we're into qualifying as they immediately all come out. So we got 15 minutes of qualifying as the cars immediately flood out of the pit lane. We quickly come on, set the laps in these 15 minutes. Bit of a close free practice there. I saw a lot of practice starts being done as well, which was interesting. Though I haven't seen practice starts be done before during free practice, but a few cars doing it. It was quite interesting to see. Now head out. Go now. Heads out. Jump on board with somebody. Let's find the one who won last time out of Richardson. He won last time out at Road Atlanta. Very good drive by himself. Earning 25 points. His second win of the season. 2 wins in 3 races for him. Puts him in 4th in the championship as we head into round number 8. Most of the cars coming straight out on track, which is always good to see cars flooding out. We'll be able to see the Twitch chat as well. So hello and welcome to everybody as first lot get their times in. Here we go then. They'll cross the line. He's immediately pulled off. So he's done one. There's not even a time. He's done an outlap after coming out of the pits and crossed the line and decided to go back in, which is interesting. Have a look at some people on some laps then. Phoenix on a lap. He finished in P7 last time out. Currently P9 in the championship. Yes, you can tell I have printed everything out this time around, so I know exactly what happened, even though I was there. I tried to use the Instagram last time, but they let me down, so I've gone back to printing. Hello. Not as late as I thought you'd be. You only missed the first outlaps of qualifying, so good timing already there. Jansen Bits obviously leading the championship. P2 in the last race. Wasn't won for 2 races as well, which has been most so far. Not currently out on track yet, just sitting in the pits. Wasn't top of free practice as well to note, but he does have quite a big lead in the championship. $60-odd points. Count goes slightly there. People crossing the line. Cornelis goes P2. Not sure exactly what's happened with the audio there. Sebastian has gone top of a 12.5. Very good time from him. Stefan's gone P6. P3 for Kevin. A little bit of traffic in front of him. He's just gonna round now. Durex had a problem. Pulled off, gets out of the way. I'm not sure who he's got out of the way of there. Could be Mark. No, it's not Mark. Is it Vincent maybe? No, Vincent. There, Alex. No, none of those. Not even. Who's just gone pole? Phoenix has gone pole and gone to the pits. Stefan in the yellow car this time around. Nice to see difference colours. It was Hutchinson who took the win last time out, followed by Jansen Bits Tristan Conning took P3. He currently sits P2 in the championship, just ahead of 3 points ahead of Sebastian, currently on pole. A close championship fight for P2. Where does Stefan put himself here as he crosses the line? He does improve on himself, but stays P10. There is a battle going for P2 at the moment.
Just had to figure out that I was muted for a second. I think that's why you weren't reacting to anything I was saying. But what is Jensen Bins up to? He hasn't set a time that we're almost halfway through qualifying.
Yeah, I was wondering that too.
3 seconds until we're halfway through, so maybe he's making it a bit tricky for himself and trying to do a last two first.
Yeah, Hutchinson's not done a fast time either. I've watched his lap times. I've watched both of them in free practice, actually, looking at what they were doing. Very smooth, I'd say, through this section here. He's gone wide there, but yeah, they can go. They were doing 1:11s, both of them, in free practice. So I know that they have definitely a quicker lap time in Hutchinson as well as Bits. But Bits, of course, just sitting in the pits, which is interesting. Hutchinson did come out and immediately go back to the pits as Derrick now goes pole. Who else was it that was in the 11s earlier? A few, I think. I
think it's going to be a good time from Hutchinson.
Here we go.
See? Yeah, 1:11.3, so that's provisional pole by 6/10. Almost exactly to Derrick. Pretty good time. See if Bins gets out. Is he still in the pit? He's still in the pits. It's a bit sad to see. I'd love to see him go out and set a fast time.
Yeah, interesting that he's sitting in the pits there. 8 minutes to go. Interesting, but he didn't turn up to practice straight away, so he was a bit late to practice. Wondering. Not really too sure. Hasn't won in 2 races, but now he's got a fight with Hutchinson. Is that only, of course, when you have a fight with somebody and they're close racing and they're close speed and they force you to improve more than you ever thought you could. So good competition for him to obviously got a long gap in the championship, but for him to try and stop Hutchinson from getting more wins in a row than him, because he obviously sits with 4 wins in a row and Hutchinson is now on 2. So.
I believe Jensen Bins is actually on 5.
On 5, isn't
he? He should be on 5. He's got 125 points. Sure, let's see. Just gotta double check. Not a lot of rounds left, I believe. We only have 4 left, and this is his final race before we go on a bit of a holiday vacation, isn't it?
Yeah, I believe it is. Bits is now out on track. Jansen is now out there.
So yeah, still 8 minutes left to try and improve his time. I think that's more than enough for Jansen.
Yeah.
See, I talked to him after the last race that he did, and he actually mentioned that the only car that he's really fast in is his Formula Supreme, so which is really fast in, but it's a bit odd that that he's that quick in this one, but he doesn't seem to have the same amount of pace in other cars. But perhaps Formula car is just his thing.
Yeah, everybody's got their niche, haven't they? A certain style they like driving. I've been watching them a lot in practice now, and I can see that you've got to be very patient around this circuit, especially in the mid last sector to the mid sector. They're very patient on the corners. Just have to wait because they can't put the acceleration down too early, because these just have so much power that they just spin round. And I've seen that the braking seems to be pretty difficult too. I've seen a lot of lockups today. That's where you just have Stefan have a bit of a tail slide out of one of the slow corners, because you just put the power here, go. Listen to him. So much patience he has to do, because that last corner is very tight in these cars. He has to wait to put the power down. Obviously, the last corner is, by the way, named last corner as he goes into first corner, which is actually its name. So I do like and for giving us such easy names.
Thanks to Japan for simplifying everything. It's actually, now that I'm checking up, we only have 3 races left. This one being one of them, then 2 after this one. So Hutchinson is only going to be able to get 5 race wins in a row. So it's not going to be able to overtake Vince, but can equal him on the winning streak.
So So Jansen has done a 1 minute 11.4 now, puts him second. Bradley in the chat says, let's go Tim Yu, best sim racer in the world. I feel like that is for Vincent, which has just gone up to P7 with a 13, nearly a 13 flat, but 1 minute 13 flat, 9 thousandths of a second off of that. Puts himself in P7, just 3 tenths off of P6 at the moment. He is on another lap here too, gonna be a little bit deep there. We'll see how he does on the exit of this corner with power. Quite well actually, compared to we saw Stefan have a bit of a slide. How patient is he on the throttle around the last corner? Very smooth, I'd say. That's lovely. Is he going to go quicker than himself as he comes to the line? To 112.6, and it puts him in P6, and then Jansen takes pole. Just behind him. Is there any slipstream from him there? He's quite close.
Oh, what a lap from Jensen. Ben's going out with only 5 minutes left and taking pole instantly. Just shows how confident he is in this car. Really, and he's not here to play around. He's here to get those race wins, as someone spun around. Who's that?
He goes Victor.
Poor Victor.
P9.
Yeah, still enough time to go out and get another lap in, but it's gonna be tight now with only 4 minutes left.
But that spinning behind is Vincent, spinning out of the way of Jansen there. Bit of a slide mid-corner there.
Late misses the apex. It's not gonna help him try to improve, and misses the apex of the second corner there as well.
And he's going into the pits. And Stam just went P8. Hutchinson is on a lap.
It's a bit sad that we don't get the split times as we do in iRacing. I'd love to see those and try and see if we can compare their split times to each other, especially Hutchinson and Ben, see where those two drivers are faster than each other.
I've got this. Sort of shows us the sector times. I'm not sure exactly if this is the sector times of this lap or his best, and he's just behind him, a 1:11.1, so he ends up being a 10th behind. Don't know how well that actually shows the sectors, sadly. The top three, the only ones in the 111s. Durek doing very well here in P3. He's got a little wide there, but he's fine. Currently P6 in the championship, and he's pulled off. Tries to cut some track and hide away. Body out there on a lap. Grealish. Oh, he's spinning around the last corner and into the pit lane wall. Stefan's not having the best qualifying in P14 at the moment. Leon coming to the end of a lap in 12th at the moment. Little wide, but fine. Doesn't spin into the wall like Grealish, Stefan. And behind us, there's a car wide. Leon's time counter continues, so maybe he's on an out lap. Good. Who was it that was spinning behind? Was it, no, it wasn't. Was it Sebastian? Well, Sebastian's pit in the pits now, so it may have been. McLaren on a lap, Jason. Currently P5.
It's been a very interesting qualifying to watch. I've noticed that some of the qualifyings we've seen, not only here in the Formula Supreme, but some of the different iRacing series that we have, notably the Rookie Road. The fastest time seems to be set at the beginning of the qualifying and not towards the end, but this one has been a bit more of a usual qualifying session where you get the banger lap in at the beginning and then you go fast progressively as you get later into the qualifying session. Oh, it's a bit wide from McLaren. Gonna need to find massive lap time if you want to make up for that. Seems to be aborting his final lap. There's not gonna have time to set a new lap. It's only just about a minute left, so anyone that's not currently out will have to do with what they've managed to do.
Agreed. If you're not out on track now, you are staying where you are. You're not going to improve on your lap. Bradley takes it back and says Vincent is not the best sim racer in the world. Is not here? No, I don't believe so. No.
Tristan and Sandy said some things get in the way for him to get into the race. I know that he's got a new wheelbase as well. Not sure if that's the only reason why he isn't here today, but probably part of it not having anything set up yet.
Victor goes P6. And that's his qualifying done. Pulls to the side. Phoenix has gone P4. Is he going to pull to the side? Or is he still going for another one? I think he's going for another one. Kevin Stam's spun off. His qualifying's
He's not
ended.
going to have a lot of time left.
Everybody in the pits here is done. Mark might be on another lap. 6 seconds to go. No, he's warming his tyres up, so that's that. Baron, don't think so. Durek's coming to the line now. He's not improving. Hutchinson's not improving. No, Janssen's out there. But I don't think he's going to be challenged. Is he going to beat himself here for pole? Can he get into the 1 minute 10s? He's for Seb then.
Yeah, I believe Tristan Koenig has actually retired from the series as well, so I don't think it's going to be any more battling for P2. Let's see what Jansen's about to do. Gets a nice little strip, see him at the end. And does a 110.8. Now that's a statement to be made, 3/10 faster than Hutchinson. And as I said earlier, he's not here to play around, he's here to win and try to avoid Hutchinson getting any more points in this championship. Or any more wins at least. I'm sure with the pace that he's showing, he's gonna get at least P2 or perhaps even 3.
Oh, that's wide from Vincent. Oh, he keeps it flat though. To the line. 112.7 doesn't improve, stays P9, but he was committed, and that's what matters. So no more Tristan Cunning then, which is bad, but got a podium in his last race, so he should be happy with that. But that's sad that we won't have that titanic battle for P2 continue. Not many points between them. My wheel's not connected, if you couldn't tell. Lovely wheel direction of the car there. It's enjoying life. I have a clue which way to look. Oh, going to be a titanic battle between Hutchinson and Jansen here for the win. Durek settling in nice. Well, there Phoenix ended up getting into the 111s too, so close for P3. Only a 10th between them. McLaren just behind them. Vincent's very close. Sebastian also very close. Kevin's and Vince. Oh, it's very close, isn't it? If you look at the times, they continue down. A 10th, less than a 10th. Then it's a bit of a gap.
Yeah, 4/10 from P4 to P6.
Yeah, that's
No, P9, sorry.
That's very close midfield, that.
Yeah, P11 and 12 as well. That's only 300th of a second separating those two.
Lovely that it's made there.
Yeah, it's just running through quickly. For the lights go out, it's Prince Hutchinson, then Durek, Phoenix, McLaren, Borling, Van Heuvel, Stam, Tunobu, Friedland, Wealth, and Leon Van Elwood, Rainen, Earlich, Short, Goras. That's it's great for today's season cards. Lining up. Are we still waiting for someone? The steering wheel is not centered west.
Yeah, it's not even connected. Not even connected. But is that going to be there the entire time?
There we go. Lights are going to go on. So it's 6 lights, and let's see.
I have to plug my steering wheel in.
Away we go. News that looks like Vincent Hutchinson getting an equally good start. Vince getting out of the first corner into turn 1. Has there been any change? It doesn't seem like it. 2 people going wide back here. That's McLaren getting on top of that battle. And let's see the first wheel overtaking opportunity here before we go on to the back straight. It doesn't look like Hutchinson is close enough to get anything done on Vince. But this straight leads on to another good overtaking opportunity going into what is actually called the hairpin. Or hairpin corner, sorry. Just to simplify it.
Oh, it's caught up between Sebastian. Sebastian's been punted. He has been absolutely, I don't know who by. But he has been absolutely sent in the hairpin there.
I didn't see that neither. That's very unfortunate for Sebastian down into P12. Hopefully he can make something out of the people battling on turn 1 and gain some ground again, but it's going to be tough to...
Oh, Victor's round. Victor's spun. Doing maybe the cold tires sitting on the grid. Jansen leads race lap 1. Hutchinson just behind him in P2. Direct P3. McLaren 4th, 5th. Phoenix. Vincent. No, it's not Vincent, is it? Is Victor? No, is it Vincent? It is Vincent in P6. Then Kevin, Mark, and Stefan, and then Alex in P10. Oh, Cornelius has had a spin as well in the exact same place that Victor had a spin. Attacks Leon and gets by.
Very unfortunate lap 1 for some of these drivers, especially Sebastian getting punted and then sent off. I'm sure that wasn't the intention of the driver behind. I'm not sure if we have any match fixing going on in this race, as Blackie is
Scandal is being said in the
implying that
chat.
we have.
There was
Haven't
a
heard of any
safety
match
car
fixing.
now. Oh dear, oh dear. Top two.
Can you actually get a safety car instead of Corsa?
I don't think you can. I don't know. I don't
I've
want
not heard of
to.
it.
Don't want to claim that you can't, and then find out that you can. Alex and Stefan having a battle for P9. Stefan making the move and having a big slide on there.
Sure, someone mudded a safety car in.
Yeah, it's got to. Oh, they're gonna have contact. Oh no, they survived. I don't know how they survived, but they did. And is Alex back by? I think he might. No, they're still side by side. And now they're not. Oh, God. Victor gets close to this. So now freeway. He's going to try and get on the exit. Freeway fight for P9. And he goes round the outside. That is lovely. Not sure if Stefan just gave him a little bit more room and backed out of that one.
Might just have, but he's not going to be too happy about the incident he had with Alex there. Alex putting him just slightly, but resulting in a big spin from him. Getting the power down out to the main straight. Who says Elwood going for the move? Looks like it's easy done. So Stefan just letting a lot of people pass. I believe that's what he did to Boiling then as well. Not taking it too hard at the beginning of the race. Still 26 minutes left. So plenty of time to make a move if that's what you want to do. But I'm not sure how much have you spoken about this track? Because I'm sure we're going to have some overtaking, but it's not going to be a whole lot. There's some tricky corners, just like these two that we've seen here, Redman corner and Hobbs corner. Now we had Mike Knight's corner, then going on to last corner, as you mentioned early on, being named the last one.
Imagine that. You call the corner before the last one Mike Knight, but then you go, no, the last one just called last corner. To the outside, slight contact, they're both round!
No.
Oh, that's unfortunate. P11 and 12, well, they were 9 and 10. Alex and Victor, both round they go. That's interesting. That gives Sebastian some places. I don't know how to call that one. That was...
No, I was going to say, that was a lovely move from
yeah, it was.
Polio, but fortunately getting tagged up. It was a weird incident as well. Looked like the rears touched somehow.
It did, yeah. They seemed like they just caught wheels and then they tangled and it just spun them both round. Which is, it was going to be lovely to the outside, but it went
just
from
a
being
bit of a racing incident, I'd say. Just
brilliant
of course
move
only
to
having
disaster very quickly. Oh, unfortunate. Just seen the chat. There is no safety car in the Assetto Corsa. Let's hope for one in Assetto Corsa 2, AC2. Yeah, is there one in the competition version? I don't feel like there is either.
I've not done enough Assetto Corsa competition to be able to comment on that.
I have, and I haven't ever had a safety car, so I feel like the answer is no. But
So it's a bit like iRacing, where you have a safety car for the road races, but they're never deployed unless you, of course, go into a hosted session like we have in our iRacing Road series or the Christmas series that we're also running. So, but that would be manually deployed. Of course, it's still driven by the computer.
No,
Not like we do with our W12 series, where we actually have a manual safety car.
Do you?
We do. We added that for the last race at Spa, but we had a bit of problem because you can't get a full course yellow just deploy it. The only way to do that is by sending out the automatic safety car that is in the game. As is that Fenton Heugel that we're following right now? He almost tanked us up
he does!
with
He's touched him!
Friedland.
Oh,
That's unfortunate. Oh, and
disastrous!
Friedland getting into 2 incidents there.
That was disaster. That's broken Victor's
No.
car, I think. That's... Oh, that was a disaster. There's nothing Victor could have done, and there's nothing really Alex could have done. And Phoenix is pitted already. It's not telling me when the window's open, but it is open, obviously. Open 5 minutes after the start of the race to 25 minutes. 5 minutes before the end. So the pit window has been open for a minute now. So Phoenix being the first to pit. Sebastian also now pits. I just don't know what to say. Now Alex pits as well. Victor might be coming in, though he doesn't. That is disastrous after the...
Yeah, I think it's a very smart move from Sebastian, of course. Alex getting tangled up there with Victor, so he's gonna have some clean air when he gets out. Only have to do 1 liter of fuel and then he's good to go again. I don't think there was anyone that close behind him. We'll have to see when he comes out, but now gets free air and is allowed to do the lap time he can do. And hopefully trying to make up some ground from the incident that he had early on. See someone else going into the pits there. But I know we've talked about the tactics and some of the drivers have commented on it as well, but I think there's a lot of tactics to be played on a track like this where overtaking isn't as easy as it is on some of the other tracks like Bahrain that we were racing at.
Oh, in the chat they said someone check Tristan's bank account now. It's pretty funny that. But yeah, no, I agree that Bahrain definitely more of a easy track to overtake. Yes, this is quite a tight technical circuit, especially in the mid part of the track compared to Bahrain. There's heavy braking zones, you could say, in turn 1, maybe turn 3 in the last corner, I'd say, and even the hairpin. Bahrain as well, quite a good place to try and go for. Here you would...
Yeah, lots of long straights that you can get some good slipstream on as well if you're close enough.
I think here is
not like this one.
This is just for the hairpin, really, isn't it? That's the only place you can think of.
Yeah, that's the hairpin. Then the corner leading onto the hairpin, Atwood Curve, as it's called. I think it's heavy enough braking for people to go for a move, but you'll of course have to be really close. It's not like the back straight that follows, where you can afford to have a bit of a worse exit, but still gain a lot on the slipstream. But I think because it's so tight and it's so difficult to overtake, I think some people are gonna save some of their push to pass and not use it as frequently as they might do on some of the other tracks.
You say that, I can see the push to passes here in green, and McLaren's got 2 left already.
Okay, so that's very early for McLaren to run out of push to pass. It's gonna hurt him at the end of the race. We still have 21 minutes left, roughly, plus minus an extra lap.
Stefan now pits as well, so if you pitted, of course you realistically can just put a litre in of fuel and go. That's what Kevin did last time out. He pitted first and
looks like Stefan is putting more than
yeah,
then.
Definitely putting more, I'd say, than what you're in there.
Vince actually mentioned last time that he changed his tires as well. And I believe Hutchinson did as well. No, I don't think Hutchinson did.
No,
I don't remember, but I know Vince did.
I think Hutchinson doesn't and Vince does, and that's where I think, what was it? A bit of a gap developed in the pit stops, didn't it? So...
It did. I remember there was it 7 minutes left where there was 10-second gap and then it comes down to like 2.5 or something like that. Crazy speed from Vince at the end of that race. That was last race at Road Atlanta where he had an incident early on in the chicane where they make contact, Hutchinson and Vince is sent off, unfortunately. But that's an interesting tactic, going for the fresher tires and putting a lot of trust into your own pace.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? It's interesting that he changes tires because a lot of others don't. So to see him do it is interesting because he's one of the fast guys, and you would think they would know, but they're doing very different strategies. With one obviously only putting a bit of fuel in, and the other completely changing tires and going again. So it is a question of which is the fastest way to do the half an hour. Is it just dash a bit of fuel in, or is it to change tires? How big is the gain in fresh tires?
Yeah, and I really think that it depends a lot of this on the circuit as well.
Yeah, got to.
I think maybe a circuit like this, the fresher tires won't matter as much because it's easier to defend with a tight track like this.
And because the
Just
corners
need to make sure you get a good run out of Edmund curve and the last corner as well.
because the corners are slower, aren't they? So you would say that they do less damage to the tires. As we watch that a
Yeah,
spin,
that as well.
that's Culinarius in the wall.
Fortunately, he's not having a great race.
Don't rub salt into too much food and watch him try and find the circuit again.
Talking about push to pass, McLaren on 1 left,
1 to go.
18 minutes. He's gonna be very smart about playing that one.
He's going to be pushing the button in a minute and nothing's going to be happening.
He'd love to get past Durek if is to use that. Durek, of course, 5 left. He's gonna go into the pits now.
He is in the pits now. So Bradley in the chat just saying, I don't know nothing about iRacing or racing in general, but all I know is the guy in first place is pretty good. It's a good assumption. I agree with you there.
You would be correct.
Definitely. Very, very good driver.
You could argue that the guy at P2 is a pretty good driver as well, but of course not as good as P1.
Yeah, you could argue that the car in front of the car behind are completely identical, but we all know that's not fully true in racing. It's a different setup, but yeah, both very good drivers, very evenly matched as we've seen. Only a second between the two of them, but they have a 10-second gap already to the car behind.
And it's a bit too blurry for me. How many push to pass do they have left?
Jansen has 9 and Hutchinson has 7, so they still got a bit.
They still have a lot. It's almost the same. There's of course 15 from the beginning, so they haven't used that much. Still have not half, almost half a race left. 16.5 minutes. So plenty of time to use those push to passes.
Doric is pitted on P3. Gaps are forming. The closest battle on track is actually the leaders. Now? They can see each other. Do they just follow each other in the pits here? Do they do the exact same strategy? What do we think?
That's a good question. I think Hutchinson might go out a bit longer and try and gain some of the time that he's losing being behind Vince. Of course, it's difficult to overtake on this track, as we mentioned. So might try and go for a bit of an overcut, or perhaps even an undercut. How's the gap to the car behind? 18 seconds. So I think an undercut would work as well if they get up to some traffic where Vince has to slow down, but there's a lot of factors to be played around with, and it also depends on how conscious Hutchinson is about those pit tactics that he can be playing with. And now that he knows that that Vince is changing tires as well, does that play an influence in how he does his pit stops?
Change anything. Mark now pits. Yeah, Vincent also in the pits. So Doric back up to P3. So I feel like the majority. Let me just double check this, but I feel like the majority, other than the leaders, now pitted. I'll find that out. Yeah, everybody. Leon hasn't pitted in P7. Now P6, he just passes Vincent, but everybody else. Oh no, Victor in P10 hasn't pitted either. 4 cars left to pit. Everybody else, the top 2 being 2 of the 4. So that's interesting. Go back to House. And Hutchinson's in. That was a liter of fuel, that. He wasn't even in the box for like more than a second there, surely.
Yeah, can we have a look at Benz and see where he is on track? He has a lot of clean there, so he didn't think about the traffic that Benz is gonna come up to inevitably with the pace that he's running. So I think he's just going for an undercut.
How different is the pit stops is the question, because that was literally litre of fuel for Hutchinson, go again. Will Bits change tyres like he did before or not? Because that will cost him obviously the lead guaranteed, I think, there if he does.
Yeah, and perhaps even P3. I'm not sure. How long does it take to change tires? That's the question.
It's got to change. It's got to take. It's not like an F1 pit stop, is it? So it's got to be at least 10 seconds, surely, on its own.
Yeah, it's gonna be a bit more than 2.5, I think, as well. I think that's what it's gonna come down
He's
to.
in the pits.
Durek. Also, he goes in now. We should be able to see if he changes tires then.
Yeah.
Will the car lift up?
His car will lift. If so, that's already longer than Hutchinson, I must admit.
It's more than a liter.
Hutchinson's through
fuel,
already.
Yeah.
There we go. No, I don't think tyres, but definitely more fuel. Here he comes now. I can maybe double check tyre life thing. I think I have one for that. Tyre age? No, he did. So it says.
So yeah, he did change the tires.
He's the only one. Kevin changed tyres too. He's got 8 laps when he pitted. So Kevin's changed tyres. Jansen's changed tyres. That's interesting. Now, how big is the tyres? They're both, by the way, using push to passes.
I'll love to see how this strategy turns out for Jensen Benz, because I think he has a lot of pace, but he's obviously lost a lot of time to Hutchinson. How's the gap now? Let's see, it's 9.5 seconds, so it's 12 minutes left. I think it's possible.
Didn't realise that one of my buttons on my keyboard would do the scene, so apologies about that one. That happened. As a clip has been taken, so I will watch that. See what clip was. But yeah, now he's gonna have to close a 9.5 second gap after doing. So I feel like I was right with 10 seconds for tyres then, because he was obviously ahead of him before the pit stops, and then comes out 9.5. So pretty.
Yeah. How long does one pit stop take? How long does one pit stop take when you just go for 1 liter of fuel? That's the question.
Looks like literally in the box for about 2. Not even that. Hutchinson pitted. Compared to how long.
But in total, with the driving through the pit lane and such.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't think we
I'm
got
not
Leon.
sure.
Here we go. We can see here. Leon's the only last car to pit. If he just puts 1 liter in there like he does there, there you go.
Yeah, so about 15 seconds, right? 15, 16 seconds. So yeah, 10 seconds, just about.
Oh, there's marks off the road, sadly. And he's spinning
So you'd be correct.
So he's already closed the gap down to 9 seconds. Phoenix is out of push to passes, I believe. Doesn't have a number in that box anymore. Both of them, by the way, Hutchins and Bits, are using theirs. Now they're down to 4 and 6 apiece.
Yeah, and 2 more for Bins. That's going to be crucial with the gap decreasing that much.
Hutchinson's used another one.
Only...
Oh, it's never been so intense to watch numbers disappear. Now Bits is using his. On the long straights they're using him too.
But I'm wondering why Hutchinson is using his on that small straight. Out of Piper Corner. I don't think it's worth it. But then again, I haven't driven this car, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah, I wouldn't know.
I'd say, of course, this main straight that we are following Sebastian coming down now, that would be worth it. And then, of course, the back straight as well. A very long straight.
Pretty certain Sebastian was using his there as well as we were watching. His light was flashing, meaning he was using it. So, great demonstration. Here's Vincent closing in on Jason for P5. There they are. Say closing in. They are neck and neck now. Jansen just did a 1 minute 10.9, fastest lap of the race, a tenth slower than his qualifying time. He is flying.
Yeah, that's some blistering speed from Jensen Bentz. Just with now a bit less than 9 minutes left, I'd just like to mention that if you have any questions about the race or ASI in general, you're more than welcome to write it in the chat, and we'll try and answer them to the best of our ability.
Stefan is sadly out of the race in E13. Shame for him. Currently 7th in the championship. Finishing this one. I think he's agreed with the track too well. Okay.
Just comparing the qualifying session to our current standings, so top 5 actually stays the same. And then, of course, there's been some
another
carnage
fastest lap.
further down.
Down to the 1 minute 10.8 that lap, so another fastest lap, 10th quicker,
Crazy
now down to
speed, and
7.4.
Yeah, it shows in the relative, doesn't it, to Hutchinson?
Yeah.
But there's still a lot of time left, 7 minutes and just a bit over 30 seconds. So he has enough time. But does he have the speed? That's the question.
Using another his push to passes. Well.
And does Hutchinson have the traffic?
He's got a set. Let's have a look. In Hutchinson, he has got a little bit actually. He has a car ahead of him. Exactly sure. It's Victor that's ahead of him here.
Yes, of course, also a question about how the traffics are gonna deal with the blue flags that they're never gonna get. Everybody we are witnessing here for P8. Sorry.
The lines through that corner there.
He's gonna use one of his push to passes. Good question. Doesn't seem like Sebastian is. What light does the light show when they use the push to pass?
The green light on the top there will flash.
Okay, so it doesn't actually change; it will just start flashing.
Starts flashing like an ambulance or something.
So a bit like we see in Formula E, where they have the ring around the halo.
Yeah, they have the ring on the header, don't they? They have the magenta for attack mode, and then they have what do they have for fan boost. Is it green or is it?
Isn't it the blue?
Blue. That
I don't. Right. I'm not too sure, but there's a different color for the fan boost. That is right, and they start blinking when you activate those. A bit of a weird concept, isn't it?
Yeah, it's an interesting one.
Who has the most followers in this that they can get to work for them?
Yeah, who has the most publicity? Who's liked the most? Luckily, the fan boost doesn't really do too much, I must admit, as he does use one there. It's flashing green. But yeah, fan boost doesn't do too much these days with the amount of boost you do get. It's actually quite little. It would be enough technically to do a overtake, but I don't remember the last time I watched fan boost that helped someone do a pass as Leon got off and recovers. Loses out to Victor, which also the race leader there passing Leon while he was on the grass and gets past Victor. So he's got a little bit of a gap now. The next car to lap will be Sebastian. So Hutchinson does have a bit of a clear air with 5 minutes to go.
Getting ever so slightly closer to Spelthan in front of him.
Which is also catching Kevin to P7. Oh, that's defending.
Oh, there's a lot of time gained on the main straight. Not close enough for a move, but let's see if he gets one done down into wide. Edwards' corner.
I thought he was going wide there from Mark in front. Oh, he goes on the grass.
Oh, that's a very tight corner that he's taking. Hopefully just some networking being a bit off.
Kevin's weaving down the back straight here. He's only got one boot. He's using it too. What does he know? Now he's only got one push to pass left. The cars behind have 3 and 4. Durex just says personal best, I think, of the race in P3. That's why. No.
No, there's contact.
Oh no.
No, but it seems that they're both surviving. Yeah, at least they're still both driving, so that's a good sign. And Sebastian getting past Spelltime, I think it wasn't intentional for Spelltime, but I think with then tangling up Sebastian, that's the right thing to do.
Yeah, he went wide and then just lost it, and there was nowhere for Sebastian to go. They did hit the wall. I wonder how much damage there will be. Kevin will be happy because Kevin's got a gap now back for both of them as they were on his tail, but that is unfortunate. Obviously, Sebastian now through, but not the way
3 seconds for Sebastian up to Kevin Stam, but Kevin Stam having 1 push to pass left as Sebastian has 3 left. Is that going to play a role? I think it might just do. There's now 3 minutes left of this race as we look a bit further up the field, and it's been getting very close to Hutchinson's. Now only 4.5 seconds. Second less than last lap, but it's not close enough, I think, for a move. Because one thing is obviously catching up to the driver in front of you, but another thing is overtaking, and that can be difficult at this track. Unless you have some insane speed, which Benz does prove that he has. So still needs to find a very huge amount of time on the track somewhere. But everything is possible. Perhaps Hutchinson will not cope too well under pressure, but we've seen him do that early on, so I think he's going to be too worried about that. Of course, 4 seconds is still a pretty big gap, isn't it?
It is. But how big are the tyres difference going to be in the last 2 minutes? Is his tyres just going to be fine, and is Hutchinson just going to run out of grip next 2 minutes? That is the question. Most of the drivers, apart from Kevin, everybody else didn't pit and put tyres on. Kevin did change tyres. His is even older than Jansen. So how big of a difference would that be? I don't think it's too much because Kevin obviously was being closed in by Sebastian, which didn't change tyres. So I don't think the grip levels are too different. But we'll find out, I guess, at the end of the race. Hutchinson has now used all of his push to passes.
Yeah, Bits having 1 left. Getting even closer, but not very much time left. I think there's 2 laps left from now on, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure where Hutchinson is on track, but just about, perhaps even he gets into... Yeah, that's Knight's corner, and then it's the last corner, so 2 laps left, I'd say.
Oh, there's contact there between Leon and Victor. Yep, and a little bit more, but Victor hasn't used any of his fan boost. Push to pass, not fan boost. So that's interesting to me. But I don't know if he's got a button assigned, or he realizes, or he's pressing the wrong one, or it's not registering, or what. But they're weaving together down into what would be their final lap, maybe. Lap down.
I think there's gonna be 1 more.
Think 1 more.
Yeah, because Hutchinson still has 1 more lap left, doesn't?
Why is there a second back to 10 seconds back to Jansen?
Is he gonna be checkered now?
Did
Binz have an incident?
He must have. There's 10 seconds back now. It was free.
And yes, perhaps pushing a bit too hard to get up to Hutchinson. That's unlucky for Jansen.
Yeah, he must have had a spin.
He's shown great pace throughout the entire race. But then it comes down to this.
So you reckon 1 more lap now then?
Horrible to see. Yeah, watching a bit further back, it's Sebastian, 8/10 behind Kevin as he goes through. So they're still fighting.
Oh, it was the checkered. Hutchinson has 1.
Yeah, so Hutchinson win this race at Okayama, but very intense battle that we're gonna witness here. Both drivers having push to pass. 1 push to pass left. See if that's gonna do anything into the hairpin corner, as it's called. Sebastian going a bit wide, but is Kevin gonna be close enough? It's very difficult to overtake on this part of the track. Gap doesn't seem to be decreasing too much for Kevin to do anything. Now, I don't think he's going to be able to get this done, Wes.
I don't think so. That was his last chance, that corner there. I don't think there's another passing opportunity around this lap to go. We might have to settle for P8. I think Seb's going to have...
Yeah, he stays on the track in the last corner, and it's going to be his P7 for Sebastian, making a lot of ground up for the incident that he had early on. But of course, he actually doesn't. It's a net 0 from his qualifying. Start 7 and finish 7. So lovely race from Sebastian, of course. Actually, Kevin started P8 and finishes P8 as well. So they haven't lost any positions. But that's the race then, as some drivers try to do burnouts. Some more successful than others.
Yeah. But Hutchinson wins 10 seconds back to Jansen, which clearly had a mistake in the last lap of the race because he was 3 seconds. It ends up being 10. Durick takes P3 in quite what you'd say a steady race for him. I didn't really see him at all. Quite a boring race, I'd say, for P3, but a podium nonetheless.
Yeah, not much battling going on there, but of course, if you just keep it clean and have good pace, it doesn't have to be exciting to get a P3. But a very interesting race nonetheless. I'd say it's... Some of the drivers called Road Atlanta a bit of a boring race, but I wouldn't say that it was. Of course, it helps that you have a bigger view of everything and you can see what's going on the track, but more overtakes being done here. Of course, not as many as we perhaps would have liked to, but interesting race nonetheless. And let's see if we can get some interviews. I'd love to talk to Hutchinson and Binz, especially Binz with that pit stop strategy that he decided to go for. Let's see if we can get anyone. Yes, I'll set this. Hutch. Yeah, we're still trying to figure out if we can get an interview, so if you just hang on tight, we'll get one as soon as possible. We'll see that Jansen Binz is replying, so hopefully he's gonna say yes.
Yeah, so the grid finished as it is. Hutchinson takes P1, Jansen P2, third to Durick, Phoenix in 4th, Claren 5th, Vincent P6, 7th for Sebastian, 8th for Kevin, ended up on the last lap, 9th for Mark, Leon P10, I believe also passing Victor on the last lap, Alex P12, and then Caleb P13.
Just to interrupt you, sorry, but we are gonna have an interview with Hutchinson. We just need to figure a way to get him in here. T. It's not on Fast Discord as he is on track. So perhaps it is true that he is he just really loved this car. Oh, there he is. Track. Going too well. There we go. So we are now joined by Binz. Sorry, I thought I said Hutchinson, but it is Jansen Binz. Welcome to our interview. To start off with, congratulations on the P2. You lose to Hutchinson once again, but you had a great pace at the beginning and was running P1 for a very long time. Then we come up to the pit window and we start talking about how you're gonna approach this one. You said last time you've been changing tires, and it's been working out quite well for you. Of course, you had 5 wins in a row, but last time at Road Atlanta it didn't really work out as well as you might would have hoped for. And this time it doesn't really work out neither. But what do you think? Yeah, did you have a different approach? Of course, you chose to change the tires again, but did you ever think about not changing them and just trying to go for the long run?
Yeah, I've learned, I think, of this race that always changing tires isn't the best strategy, as you can see. So I think next race I need to look at it better and probably change the strategy for next race. Because I was running in the lead and slowly a little bit gapping him, not much, but a little bit. And I thought that changing tires would give me a huge advantage, but it didn't. It only gave me um it gave me an advantage, but not as much as I hoped for. Uh, yeah, then I learned from it. I pushed too hard, and also pinned the car, which you shouldn't do in a fight for P1. So I hope next race I can battle for the lead again.
No, we were wondering. You had 4.5 second gap to Hutchinson. It was showing that you had great pace at the end of the race, but then suddenly it's 10 seconds. But you say that's a spin. Where did it happen? We didn't. Luckily for you, you didn't catch it on camera.
Yeah.
Just give
Then
us a small thoughts on that.
my embarrassment is not there. I had much understeer into turn 1, and the understeer caught me, and then I was too impatient on the throttle and just pinned it into the grass. And it's not what
Okay.
you should do in a fight for P1, but I think I was just a little bit mad at myself because the strategy didn't work out and got a little bit impatient. Hopefully next race I can learn from this and battle him again, because he did a magnificent race and he did like no mistakes, which is great. I also need to learn that, because I still do some mistakes, some small mistakes, like I'm pulling ahead a little bit and then I make a small mistake and he's right on my back again. That's what like the first turn looked like. I was pulling away like 1 or 2 tenths in 5 laps. The gap was 1.1 second, and I do a little stupid mistake and then he's right on my back again. That's, yeah.
Yeah, you talk about mistakes and learning from your mistakes. Yeah, in qualifying, I think when there was 7.5 minutes to go, you still hadn't set a qualifying lap. Was that to
I
try
was
and play some mind games with?
I had Dana, so
No, okay.
no time.
So it had nothing to do with mind games or anything like that.
No, I don't like to do mind
Okay,
games.
but it's still we were talking about why you didn't do that, and perhaps you might would have gone for something like a last two first. But it's pretty funny to see you go out and track and then you instantly get a provisional pole.
I
You
had
got a
straight
nice gap
wings.
to Hutchinson as well. I think it was about 3 tenths at the end of
Yeah.
the qualifying session.
I think my one-lap pace is quite strong. I just need to learn with my consistency and race pace, and that's what he is really good at. So we have some differences in racing style, driving style, and I hope I learn a little bit from his race performances.
Of course,
Yeah.
you always it's always nice to learn from faster drivers. We talked about the cars at this track a bit early on. It's not really a formal car track, but how did you find it? Is it a bit too tight? Did it suit you well, or?
Well, I like Japanese tracks, but I think this track, I should say, I don't like it. Like, you really can see that this is more a GT track, because especially at turn number, like the last hairpin on the track, the rear tire, like it loses contact, and if you put too much throttle, you like spin out. So you really need to be careful. And I saw a lot of people in practice and in qualifying spinning out. And I'm not a really great fan of fast, more than 90 degrees corner where you usually need to lift. I don't have the feeling for that yet. Hopefully I can find it somewhere. And I think the next track, which is Okayama, not Okayama, this was this track. Next track.
Next track is Road America.
Oh, Road America. I drove the prototypes and it was awesome. I think a lot of corners are flat out with the Formula Supreme.
It's a bit of a faster track compared to Okayama. That's to a very much wider track than Okayama as well, made for some bigger cars. Just put it like that.
I think Road America will suit me a little bit more. I hope so.
Of course. So hopefully we'll see you at the top of the standings again at Road America.
Yes. Hopefully.
Try to see if we can get an interview with, of course, Hutchinson, but also Durek that finished in P3, but it doesn't seem like they have responded. No, it doesn't. Perhaps should we get an interview with Kevin and Sebastian?
Yeah, let's see why not. My replay sadly doesn't seem to be working.
I'll drag both of them in here. See if we catch some of the conversation.
Oh, hello.
So now we're joined by Sebastian and Kevin. Hello.
Hi.
Hi, Kevin. We're just gonna start with you, Sebastian. You had a spin early on. It wasn't a spin; it was an incident.
I was just about to say it wasn't a spin, no.
Going into hairpin corner, you probably had a spin as well, if I know you right.
No, I did not have a spin. No.
No, okay.
Just the one that was caused by being hit from behind.
Okay, but we didn't see much more than you got hit. Could you maybe take us through it and take us into your thoughts going out of the race? Because you recovered pretty well. I think you went from P15 up into P7 again, which you also started qualifying from. So a net zero gain.
Yes. Yeah, I think at the end it was more possible if I had not died in lap 1. I was hoping for a bit of a better result than P7. But I think the incident in lap 1 was kind of also my own mistake because I tried to cover with the guy. He was quite close to me. I broke a bit earlier than normal because there were cars in front of me. And I think he just didn't expect me braking and just hit the back of me. So that sent me in a spin. And yeah, I mean, I'm happy I didn't take anyone else out with my spinning, I don't know, flying, whatever I was doing. So yeah, I had a bit of damage there. So I tried to come on as early as possible, and then I just went to town and did my best to climb back up in the field. And at the end, I got Kevin there, 1 lap remaining. It was nice. So all in all, it was a decent race, I'd say.
Yeah, I'm just pull Kevin in here as well because you had that battle at the beginning where you overtake Kevin. How was it fighting for P7 at the end? I think we'll start with Kevin this time.
Yeah, I saw him coming together with Mark, I think, who was fighting him there, and I was getting quite worried because I don't know what I was doing with my setup, but it felt horrible. It just getting worse and worse. Thought I got used to it, then I spun, and then I took everything more careful and just saw people coming towards me and panic. In the end, I thought I would be able to defend because I was on a good time there, trying to keep him away from me, but I just screwed up on the last corner. He got side by side with me, and it was gone from there.
Yeah, and you were one of the guys that decided to change his tires the pit stop, if I'm not mistaken.
You are mistaken. I did not
I
change
am
my
mistaken.
tires.
Okay, then our telemetry showed it
Well,
wrong.
blame the graphic. Yeah, blame the graphic.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, no, I didn't change my tires. I'm not sure if I would have or wanted to, but I couldn't get any jumpers in them, so my setup was just wonky. My right tires were they had no grip.
Yeah, because we just talked to Jensen that decided to change his tires, and not gonna comment too much on what he says. So as we already heard that interview, but how were the tires at the end of this race? You say that they were bad.
I'm not sure if it was the tires or my what do you call it? Like my confidence in the car just disappearing. But I had no confidence in the tires or the car at the end there. Just tried to hold on for dear life and try to get to the end there. and whenever I tried pushing, I would crash. Like at the exit there, I was trying to on the last corner, I was trying to get a good exit so I could keep Sebastian behind me, but yeah, we all know how that went.
I can relate to a bad setup, but we're not going to go into that. How was your tire, Sebastian? You of course managed to get the overtaking at Kevin done.
Yeah, I think the line he took in the last turn really helped me there, because I saw him take the line. I was like, that's a bit audacious, and then I saw him hit the grass on the exit, so that made me really happy. I mean, it's not the best way to overtake someone, but I'll take it. Tires felt fine for me at the end. I didn't really struggle with them. I was actually getting quicker throughout the race. So no, I don't see changing tires as like a valid option for me, for my driving style anyway.
No, of course not. How? What are your thoughts on going into Road America? That's the next on the calendar. Of course, we have some waiting time before we go to that race. Perhaps Kevin could tell me when that is. That's going to be in 2021. No, 2022, right?
I believe next week Thursday should continue, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't know.
I'm-
You're the one running the session, actually. So
Then I'm assuming next week will continue. So
if you want to know, okay.
will be next week on Road America. And to answer your question on that one, I'm not sure what to expect. I know the course. I know it exists. I've never driven it, so I'm gonna have to pucker up and have at it, I guess.
Yeah, I'm just trying to have a clean weekend, I think, or weekday, whatever you want to call it. No spins, no contact, just a clean race. That will suit me nicely. So let's see if we can make it happen next week.
Yeah, lovely to get an interview with both of you. I think that's gonna be it. Didn't see neither Hutchinson or Duray comment when I asked for them to do an interview, so we're just gonna wrap up.
Fair enough.
So
good.
yeah,
Having us.
you're welcome. Lovely race here at Okayama. Of course, we'll see you next Thursday, as Kevin just mentioned, which is going to be a race at Road America. In the meanwhile, we have our W12 series running every Monday. Are they still on holiday break? They aren't, right?
Nope. It continues next Monday as well.
Yes. So next Monday we have W12 series with the Mercedes W12. That's iRacing Formula One car. If you are interested in those kind of things. And then we also have our Christmas series running every Wednesday. No, next one is Sunday.
Yeah, correct.
Actually.
Wednesday and Sunday.
And that's going to be at Silverstone. That's GT3 at Silverstone. Lovely racing we had yesterday for some of us. But lovely to watch anyway. So thank you for watching this stream, and we'll see you next time.